Welcome to Leadership Unfiltered. And today we are going to talk about toxic bosses, which is going to be a good topic because I know I've had my share of toxic bosses.
And hopefully you haven't been a toxic boss.
Ooh. That's for other people to say.
You haven't gotten that feedback?
No, at least no one's told me that.
Good.
So I try very hard not to be. Definitely some of the behaviors of my previous bosses have showed me what not to do. Mm-hmm. And so toxic bosses can make work life horrible.
Yes.
And how to deal with them is an important topic. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Perfect.
I'm going to open with a question to you.
Yeah.
Tell me about how a toxic boss has impacted not you personally, but your ability to lead.
Ooh, that's a good question. In my answer, I'm going to talk about how it impacted me personally because I cannot get over it. I had a toxic boss, and let me describe her toxicity. She was just not a good leader. Let me start there. There was we talked in our last episode about harassment.
Yes.
There was a form of harassment, I think, on her behalf. And we've had this episode as well, micromanage to the nth degree. I sat right next to her. She would literally look over my shoulder. She would not provide clear direction and then question why I did a certain thing after she told me that's what she wanted. And she'd say, I never said that. I mean, it was just one thing after the next. Terrible feedback. You couldn't go to her for any type of help. It was just a bad situation. I was leading a project at the time. Her being a toxic boss impacted my ability to deliver because I wasn't getting clear direction. I wasn't given the opportunity to experiment. When I would give the team direction, she would be right there giving the team a different direction. So she would undercut or undermine what I was trying to get the team to do and how I was trying to lead the team. So it was just ineffective, and it caused us to do a lot of rework. It caused us to have meetings for the meeting we just had, right? So it was impacting productivity. We were missing deadlines. It was just turned into a mess. At one point, I thought it was me. I thought I was lacking skills, that I wasn't a fit for that role or that job, that I was being a poor leader. I jokingly said, I'm going to talk about what it meant to me personally, what it did to me personally. It was so stressful, that environment, that I actually developed what's called TPI, which is where your blood cells, your red blood cells are impacted. And my platelet count went way down. And in the middle of the night, I woke up with red spots all over my chest and neck and shoulders. And I was thinking, well, did I get chicken pox or, the measles or something? Went to the doctor and they said, no, your platelet count is way down. And so I had to take treatment for that. And it just turns out that the stress was eating away. It was just literally impacting me physically. For weeks, I just was trying to figure out how to deal with it. And I remember sitting in the lunchroom by myself and overhearing a table next to me of about 3 people complaining. And as I listened closely, they were complaining about my boss. And it happened to be their boss as well. They were working on other things. I leaned over and said, can I join y'all in this conversation? Because that became, that was therapy for all of us, that we were just able to talk and kind of get it out. But it turns out that she was just a bad boss for multiple people, just really toxic. Not only impacted me and my performance and the team's performance in that project, but it had a physical impact on me. And so if you're out there and you're a toxic boss, and toxic meaning you are micromanaging, you are disruptive in a bad way with deliverables and the team. You're not giving clarity and clear direction. You are not supportive in your role as a leader, or some of the things that I experienced as a toxic boss. Then seek help. Go get a coach or somebody to help you become a better leader, because you are going to ruin really talented people, and you're going to run talent away from your team and that organization as a cost for being a toxic boss.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious. Did you ever share with her your views on her ability to lead?
No, because I was scared.
Okay. Hey, no judgment here. Judgment-free zone.
I didn't know how, how to share that in a way that she would hear it and take any feedback from me. I just tried to figure out ways to cope with it. I was on that project for a year. It turns out that I was the second project manager on that project. Now, I don't really have any inside knowledge on why the first project manager left, but I got some idea, and I don't know where the project went after I left, but I knew it was time for me to go.
And I think that's one of the ways to deal with a toxic boss, which is to exit.
Yes.
I've always said people don't leave companies, they leave leaders.
That's right.
Your experience with a company is through your leader. So that does not surprise me that you exited. My experience, slightly different. I did not see the toxicity. I had become acclimated to dealing with toxic people based on my upbringing. So my childhood and how that unfolded caused me to be attracted to toxic people.
Wow.
And so I was having a conversation with a good friend, and I was telling her how awesome my boss was. I was like, she does this, and she's doing that, and she's doing this. And my friend, who is a little bit older than I am, been in corporate America much longer than me. No, I shouldn't say that. She's has more experience in corporate America, more than I do. She listened, and she was like, this person sounds horrible. And I was taken aback.
Yeah.
I was like, no, she's great. Let me tell you why I think she's great. And the more I talk, the more my friend was like, she sounds wretched. It knocked me back, because my framing is completely positive. So it's not like my friend was picking up on a framing.
Right.
I was just explaining what happened and how it was handled, and she was like, no, absolutely not. And it took probably about 5 years of like unpacking that mirror, because she held up a mirror. What my friend did in the most loving way possible was held up a mirror that I had to look into, that I did not want to look into.
Yeah.
And it took about 5 years for me to see what she saw. And then it took me probably another 5 to unpack why, which is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's just, it very, very toxic. Just very, very, very toxic. Now, I don't place any of that. Everyone has their journey. Everyone has a reason why they're in the place that they're in. And I have found, as I've gotten older, compassion for where people are. Because a lot of people are hurting.
Sure.
And a lot of the way people treat other people has everything to do with what they're going through. It has very little to do with the person.
Yeah.
And I had to get to a place where, one, I had a role to play in it too, which was, again, a long time to unpack. But once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Right.
Once you see manipulation, once you see using knowledge as a weapon, once you see the veiled threats, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you see it in other people that you have been around, you also begin to see when you do it.
Ooh.
And that's why when you asked at the beginning, but you're not a toxic boss, I had to go, well, there was plenty of opportunity for me to pick up toxic behaviors.
Yes.
Now, I have worked really hard to seek them out and to unpack them and to understand them and to accept them so that I can be aware of them.
Yeah.
Because if you reject something, it'll just pop up and it will blindside you. But if you can accept it and see it for what it is, you can't manage what you can't see.
Yes.
So if you are in denial about it and you want to reject it, you won't be able to manage it. And so I know, based on how I was raised, based on the type of leaders I was exposed to early in my career, there's an opportunity for me to exhibit some toxic behaviors. Mm-hmm. And so I work really hard to ensure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah. It's
important that you do that work, because if you're not doing that work, then odds are you probably are a toxic boss.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I like that the toxic behaviors combined make you a toxic boss.
Yes.
It's not one behavior, because with that definition, you probably all have some toxic behavior. Mm-hmm. It's just when you combine multiple toxic behaviors, then you become a toxic boss or toxic leader. The work is awareness of when those behaviors are showing up, mm-hmm. then confronting them.
Yes.
Right? Confronting is the hard part.
Yes.
Awareness is hard too, because if you're in denial, then you're just not even looking to see what those behaviors are, or acknowledging them when you get the feedback that you're exhibiting these behaviors. You're just in denial, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Going down the model, you can justify them.
Yes.
It's not until you start to feel bad you're exhibiting these behaviors that you actually start to figure out what you want to confront and do about them. Mm-hmm. There are 3 things that come to mind, and I haven't had many toxic bosses. Mm-hmm. Or, you bring up a good point, maybe I've been in denial about the ones I have had, but I haven't had any that stood out with a combination of behaviors that made them a toxic boss. The other ones, when I do see behaviors, I won't even call them toxic. They're just behaviors that I don't like. I try to remind myself of one thing, to not take it personal.
Yes.
This is not about me.
Yes.
They're exhibiting this behavior, in my opinion, for one of 2 reasons. One, it's a defense mechanism for them. So they are trying to build this wall to protect themselves, and they use this behavior to do that, to shield. They are in denial or unaware that this behavior exists for them, and that's the way they have learned to operate. So I don't take it personal, because then that leads me to trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not about to carry that baggage. That baggage of them protecting themselves and not aware of the behaviors is their baggage.
Yes.
That they need to try to confront and figure out and become aware of. And I don't need to do that for them. I got my own baggage to carry. And I always tell people, my baggage is heavy enough that I don't need to carry yours too.
Yes.
So and it's hard when you've got somebody exhibiting even just one behavior that is toxic to you, meaning you don't care for it. It's hard to deal with it when it's consistent.
Yes.
It's worse when you have multiple that is consistent. And so I try to do 3 things. 1, keep my options open. If it is consistent, then this just might not be the place for me.
Yes.
That's okay. Me not taking it personal says you're going to be okay, I'm going to be okay, but I need to be okay someplace else.
Yes.
The second one that I learned from that experience that I explained is build a network.
Yes.
We talked about that in an episode. That group of people that I overheard became my network. Mm-hmm. They became my real-time therapy. And it was just an opportunity to share in a space that was safe, that was non-judgmental, because they were going through the same experiences. Mm-hmm. And I could just get it out. Third thing I would say is usually whether it's a toxic boss or some behaviors from a leader, I try to stay in front of it. And I do that through communication, whether that's updates, information. I just try to stay in front of them exhibiting that behavior.
I want to pause you right there for
Yeah.
just a second, and I'm by no means a therapist, although I have spent a lot of time in the chair. That is a coping mechanism.
Oh, yeah.
And coping mechanisms aren't bad.
Yes.
They are not bad.
Yes.
Coping mechanisms keep you healthy. That's why they exist.
Yes.
But what it does is it creates a codependency cycle because you are enabling the behavior.
Yes.
While there's two things there. Never put your own safety at risk.
Yes.
Right? So if you need to go someplace else because this person, for whatever reason, isn't good for you, by all means, do that.
Yes.
So what I'm about to say is predicated on make sure you're safe first.
Yes.
But what I have appreciated about having toxic bosses is that it gave me an opportunity to learn a lot about myself. It gave me a lot of opportunity to say, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. I'm not going to create a codependency cycle with you. I'm not going to get in front of it because you're going to be misbehaving. Yes. I'm not going to overprocess because you are not behaving as I need you to. Yeah. And how to find that inner strength to say no, to say that's not going to work for me, to find that place where I get to exercise it. Because if I'm already looking, if I'm already planning on exiting, I have less to lose. I'm not going to say I don't have anything to lose, but I have less to lose. Yeah. And so that gives me an opportunity to leverage the value that they are bringing, which is an opportunity for me to learn how to deal with people who are not behaving as I need them to behave. Yes. Or I shouldn't say as I need them to behave, as one would expect a kind and generous person to behave. Not that I need them to do that, but this is common decency in terms of how you treat people. Right. And it's not the golden rule, it's the platinum rule. Don't treat people how you would want to be treated. You treat them how they want to be treated. Yes. And that's so important. But that's what I would offer, is that if you are in a situation where you have a toxic boss, first and foremost, make sure that you are safe. Yes. But the other opportunity is to say, hey, while I'm here, can I learn a bit about me? Can I learn a bit about how to better deal with people that are going to behave this way? Yeah. Because you're right, it's hard. It's really hard when this person who has authority is misbehaving. Those opportunities, because again, like you, I've only had 2.5. I would say 2 toxic bosses and probably 1 borderline, 2.5. And so they didn't come along often in my career. Yeah. And I don't know how often they come in other people's career, but I definitely am grateful for the opportunity to hone those skills. Yeah. Now, the first toxic boss I had, I didn't do that. But the second one I did. And it made my experience with the half a lot easier for me because I had the skills to go, that's not going to work for me. Or ask the question like, what were you expecting to happen? And to have them to go, how were you expecting me to react to that? To be able to ask those types of questions in non-defensive, very open, genuinely curious kind of way. Because although you are behaving horribly, I'm going to remain curious. Yes. To say, what outcome were you expecting that behavior to get you? Yeah. That's what I would offer to our audience, is that there's an opportunity there.
That's good. And I appreciate you calling that out, because even my second one around the network is the coping. Right? That network was to help me cope. Right? Getting that real-time therapy, I call it, was just me coping with the situation. Me trying to stay in front through communication and updates and that type of stuff is coping.
Which isn't bad.
It's
not bad.
And it wasn't bad for me. I love the fact, because your learning comes from when you start to understand your power in those situations, and that you are not powerless. Yes. Even though that's your boss. Yes. And that you get, by definition, a chance to create, choose, and attract something different. Yes. That's what I missed in my coping. I will say in my coping, I mastered it. And I mastered it in this way that, not for her in particular, and this is why I can say maybe I had some other bad behaviors. Wasn't necessarily a toxic boss, but I learned to manipulate through my coping.
Yes, and
Right?
that's the trap,
Yes, it is a trap.
which is
Because
because,
I don't learn anything for starters.
and that is also another toxic behavior. And so, which is why when I go back to saying, given that exposure, when you're exposed to toxic people, you absorb those behaviors, and you absorb them through your coping mechanisms. And so that's why it's so important to take the opportunity to unpack it so that you don't inadvertently start to use what you have observed to work. Because that's what humans do. There's like, oh, I saw that worked, so then I need to do some of that.
Yeah. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't picking up the toxic behaviors, but I found a way to manipulate the toxic behavior for myself.
Yeah, I want you to hear the words you are using.
Yes. I'm just telling you what works.
Right.
I know it's not good words.
No.
And I know I'm not learning.
But when you say you learn to manipulate, that in and of itself is a toxic behavior.
Yes.
Yes.
But I wasn't using that against somebody else to be toxic for them.
That wasn't your intention.
I wasn't toxic towards that person.
That was not your intention. But you using that is being toxic to them. I understand that it wasn't your intention.
Yes.
But that is 100% the impact, which is why you have to, it's a slippery slope.
Yes.
It's a very slippery slope.
Yes. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, that'll take me some unpacking because I'm good.
I'm not saying that it was a bad decision to do. Coping mechanisms are healthy because they keep us safe.
Yes.
And so I am not judging it.
No.
Yes, I am not judging it at all.
Yes.
I'm simply saying, let's call it what it is.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now, no judgment.
Yeah.
Just naming.
Yes.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. I was thinking about any toxic behaviors. Again, hopefully never got any feedback that I was a toxic boss. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about behaviors and if I exhibited any of those that now I can call out, other than manipulating my boss, but with maybe my team. Let me ask a question as I'm thinking through what that would look like for myself. If you were given feedback, that you were exhibiting a toxic behavior, how would you handle that feedback?
I have been given feedback. The feedback that the feedback that I have received is that I don't like someone. So you're giving me this feedback because you don't like me. Mm-hmm. And every time I get it, I do check to say, oh, do I not like this person? Because you don't care for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And most of the time, that's not the case. Most of the time, it's like, oh no, I'm holding you accountable, which is different.
Very different.
And this is the first time that you've been held accountable. And so I understand how it could feel that I don't like you. But this has nothing to do with liking.
Yes.
This has to do with meeting a bar.
Yes.
In every one of those situations, about 6 months later, the person goes, oh, yeah, you're right. And they realize that I genuinely do care for them because I'm able to build that connection. Mm-hmm. But I've gotten that feedback that, oh, you're doing this because you don't like me. Like, well, that's not it. I have gotten my executive coach observed me in a couple meetings and said that I would always ask the guys a question first. So I would I can ask a question genuinely. I mean, and out in the open, which is fine. But if I were to say, hey, what do you think about this? And I would name a person to give me their perspective, it would always be a guy. And I was so unaware that I was doing that, which is could be received as toxic. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, he only likes the guys. I was like, that one hit me hard. Yeah. Because I pride myself on honoring diversity. Yeah. To know that was subconsciously happening for me. And I was grateful for the feedback and grateful for the observation, but it was hard. Mm-hmm. It was really, really hard to hear. And so, but I realized I now need to be aware of it and being deliberate about it, which is why I say you just never know how much of those behaviors you absorb. Yeah. And so I'm going back to say, okay, which of my leaders, when I observe them, would do that? Because you just don't default to doing that. You picked it up from somewhere.
Right.
And that person, whoever I picked it up from, probably wasn't even conscious of it either.
Yes.
That's why it's a slippery slope.
Yes.
And it's important that you have those folks around you that are willing to give you the feedback to keep you from being a toxic boss.
Yes.
Because most toxic bosses probably don't know they're toxic bosses.
Yes.
Well, as promised, this was a lively episode where we talked about toxic bosses.
Yes.
And our experiences with them, how to cope, how to exit, how to learn in those situations, and how to not be one yourself.
Yes.
And so I really hope you enjoyed listening and watching as much as we enjoyed this exchange, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to Leadership Unfiltered. We hope you have found value in our conversation and are ready to take action in your leadership journey. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And don't forget to connect with us on social media for more leadership insights and resources. Until next time, keep leading with purpose.